In the April 2020 General Conference, President Russell M. Nelson said, "I promise that as you increase your time in temple and family history work, you will increase and improve your ability to hear him." This promise was given to each one of us individually. It applies to our personal temple and family history efforts. It also applies to those of us who hold callings to lead the temple and family history efforts and missionary efforts in wards and stakes. In these callings, we help individual members and their families gather Israel on both sides of the veil. Recent instructions given in a letter from President M. Russell Ballard, and also found in the new General Handbook, along with resources found on churchofjesuschrist.org, provide the details of how a ward can organize their efforts for the work of salvation and exaltation. These efforts are led by the Elders Quorum and Relief Society presidencies under the direction of the bishop and the ward council. Central to these efforts is a ward coordination meeting. For the missionary efforts in the ward, this meeting is held weekly and is attended by the counselor in the Elders Quorum presidency and the counselor in the Relief Society presidency with responsibility for missionary work, the ward mission leader, if one has been called, a young man who serves as an assistant in the priest quorum, and a young woman who serves as a member of the presidency of the oldest young women's class. Ward and full-time missionaries also attend. For the temple and family history efforts in the ward, this meeting is held regularly and is attended by the counselor in the Elders Quorum presidency and the counselor in the Relief Society presidency with responsibility for temple and family history work, the ward temple and family history leader, if one has been called, a young man who serves as an assistant in the priest quorum, and a young woman who serves as a member of the presidency of the oldest young women's class. Ward temple and family history consultants also attend. These coordination meetings may be held in person or using technology. The purpose of these meetings, after beginning with prayer, is to counsel together on how to implement the ward mission or temple and family history plan that's been developed under the direction of the ward council. This meeting is also used to coordinate the work in the ward. The ward council creates a simple temple and family history plan. A successful military commander was once quoted as saying, "A good plan, violently executed now, is better than a perfect plan executed next week." Brothers and sisters, simple is always better than complex. These plans answer these fundamental questions. Who can we help? And how can we help? It can be as simple as identifying new converts, new young men and young women, helping them get a family search account, helping them enter 4 generations in family search using the My Family booklet, and on and on and on. These plans are carried out throughout the different organizations in the ward with the help of the ward temple and family history leader and the temple and family history consultants. Promises from the Lord through living prophets give us the assurance that as we increase our personal time in temple and family history work and help others do the same through our callings in the church, we will increase and improve our ability to hear him. This is a spiritual work, a work that relies on and fosters revelation. Let's now join some general authorities and general officers of the church as they visit with church leaders throughout the world and learn how they have seen the promises of increased ability to hear him come true in their own experiences in their part of the Lord's vineyard.
Well, thank you, David and Diane and Julie. So, David, you're the Ward Temple and Family History leader. Tell me what impact the May 26th letter from President Ballard has had on you and how the work's done in the Sunset Ward.
Well, we've had the privilege of having a really good bishop who supports us in the work. We set up, just towards the end of last year, we set up our Temple and Family History ward plan. And that was generated from contribution of many leaders, including the bishopric, the ward council, the executive council, and they contributed well in the executive council meetings. And we came up with something that was very simple.
Well, that's fantastic. Can we just talk a little bit about how it's coordinated at the stake level, Diane? Is it happening at the stake level?
Yeah, from a stake level, when the change first came in, it was about a year and a half ago, wasn't it, that the initial change came in. And when that came in, I was really worried actually how it was going to work, and I was worried how we were going to implement it, from a stake level. How do we train? How do we pass that on to each of the wards to then implement it within their ward? But this latest direction that came out that really clearly gives a defined path that the Elders Quorum look after it, the Relief Society looks after it, and even on a stake level, the Relief Society looks after it, the youth groups look after it. It's made it much easier for us on a stake level to be able to train our leaders in each of the wards, and then help to train the consultants in each of the wards.
Oh, great.
And then, I think from what we've seen in most of our wards here is that the Elders Quorum have really taken charge of it, and that they've got their leaders and they're putting their consultants in place, and it's starting to move forward.
And Julie, the more that you get involved in Temple and Family History work, the less surprised you are about those so-called coincidences, which are not coincidences. Do you have a feeling as to why those things might happen?
Oh, I'm definitely guided by the Spirit. I'm led to these people into finding out those things.
Yeah.
It's not by chance that
I think we sometimes think that we're the only ones who are working on this, and we don't realise that there are those who are beyond the veil who are doing just as much work and perhaps more than we are. And they need us to do the work, but they will guide us if we do pray and if we are prepared. And it seems that you've had those experiences. That's wonderful.
And grateful for dear Diane, who's just been an absolute blessing. To do my family history and to open up all these avenues, because I would still probably be sitting there just floundering. And I just can't believe that we're so blessed to have access to these sites that we can use, and I only wish that a lot of other people could have that vision, We don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Julie. Diane, would you like to comment from your perspective on the experiences that Julie's mentioned? You've obviously been very closely involved.
Julie and I catch up regularly, actually, doing our family history. To me, prayer is a vital part of doing your family history. Sometimes it can be sometimes I do it very formally before I go and visit someone that I'm going to help. Sometimes you don't have that luxury. Sometimes you're just kind of placed with somebody. You don't have that luxury to prepare as well as you might like.